Hey everyone, this is Tristan with Cedar Ridge Campers. Today we're going to show you guys around one of our trailers here. Basically we're going to do the tour of what we do when people come and pick up their trailer. So basically we'll show all the functions, how everything works. Yeah, first thing we're going to show you here is our doors. So basically the main thing we need to show you is how these windows work. So basically the shade comes down, screen comes up. One little tip on these we found, if you have your vent fan going, it's often nice to have your shade down like this. It'll kind of direct the air more down on you, versus if you have this open all the way like this, the air will just kind of directly go out of the vent fan. So that's just a little tip there. Basically, the operation of these windows then, you push the little gray button in on these latches, all three of them here. And then it opens out, and once it gets past the click, you just stop and it'll hold out at that area. Second click, then third click, and that's all the way out. And then to close the window, come all the way back up, and then it comes down. One more little thing on these windows here. So there is a setting here, which you basically can put it between the two posts, and then you have ventilation, you have a little crack here, and your window is still secure. So it's like security with having the window, with having some ventilation. So one thing, just make sure, before you drive down the road or something, if you're going through the rain, just make sure you have it all the way closed. We've had a couple people, they put it between the two posts there and they think it's closed and they end up getting water in their trailer. So that's the main thing on these windows. And there are also, I guess we'll show you the latch a little bit. The latch has a deadbolt, and then it also locks the handle. So that's the way you can lock it while you're on the inside. And then just a simple keyed entrance on the outside. So moving into the cabin here, we're gonna start up front here with the reading lights. Basically show you guys how them things work. So basically you touch it once and a little blue light comes on. You touch the rings here, and then you touch it again and the main light comes on. And if you touch and hold it when the main light is on, it'll dim the light down just a little bit. And then also on the side of the reading light, there's a USB, so you can have like a USB cord here where you can charge your phone up front. Got cup holders on each side, just a simple marine type cup holder. Simply fold out. So we go to the window. Here's the window, or the Stargazer window with the shade. This simply just magnets up to the window, so you can have privacy and also pretty much black out your interior. Next we'll show the operation of the vent fan. Basically, to open that, you'll pull down on the little knob here and then crank it open, and that will open up the top. And then like in the winter, sometimes it might be just a good idea just to open it and have your windows open on the side. That way you get a little bit of ventilation when your heater is running. You always want to ventilate, even in the winter time, to keep out the condensation and to keep it from basically suffocating yourself inside here. So basically the operation of the vent fan then, it's a 10 speed, so you'll turn it on, and then plus and minus through the different speeds. And then you can it's reversible, so you can have it either pulling air in or out. Generally, the way we would ventilate the trailer would be having the air pulling out and having the windows cracked on each side. That way you get a nice cross ventilation. So moving into the cabinets here, the functionality on all the switches and everything here. So starting on this side, we got your porch light that lights up the exterior porch light on the driver's side there. And then we got a 12-volt plug, and then a USB-C plug. Then we have the overhead lights, and then there's also a little dimmer switch on the side of that, so you can dim down your overhead lights. Then we got the 110 plug, and that is hooked up to the inverter, so it'll only run if you turn your inverter on, and we'll show you guys how to do that in the rear. You just basically turn on a switch there in the Galley, and that will send power to your 110 plugs. Then on the opposite side here, we got another porch light switch to light up the other side porch light. Just a couple things with the cabinets. If you ever do need to get to the wiring back in here, you can simply remove this little shelf here. There's 2 screws on the front of the shelf there, where you just remove those and you can get into the wiring back there, and also the front side of the Truma Combi. Yeah, so next we're going to show you the controller on the Truma Combi. And before you even mess around with the controller, you're going to have to turn your propane tank on up front. Just simply turn that on, that way you get propane to your Truma Combi. And the Truma Combi is the water heater and the furnace. Basically the way the controls work on here is you'll press the center and to select stuff, and then you scroll through the menu options by turning the center button here, and then whichever one is selected will be flashing. The little camper van with the thermometer in it represents your furnace, and then the little squiggly line with the thermometer in it represents your water heater. The fan represents, you can adjust your fan settings a little bit when the furnace is on, and then you can adjust your clock, and also there's some extra settings down here in the bottom. But the main 2 ones you'll use are the little camper van for the furnace and the water heater. So now that the little camper van is flashing here, we'll select that and we'll scroll up to whichever temperature we desire, and then press select, and then your camper or your furnace will be set to come off and on at that temperature. Scroll that back down to off, turn that off, and we'll go over to the water heater here and we'll select that, and it'll show off, and then eco, hot, and boost. And we'll basically go through these settings here. So the eco would basically be, it heats, I think, the water up to about 100 degrees, 110, don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around there. It's not super hot. It's just an eco setting. And then hot heats it up to 120, somewhere in there. It's pretty hot. And then boost, basically what boost does is it dedicates all of the energy to the water heater. When it's on boost, your furnace inside will not work at all. So that's pretty much everything on there. You can go back here and I'll have a screen with your time on it. Yeah, so we're gonna show you the under-mattress storage. You can get to it without folding the mattress up, but we're gonna fold the mattress up for today's demonstration here. So we can fold this up. I'll simply slide this towards the back, and here you have access to your under-mattress storage. Maybe I'll just show it on that side. But basically these doors are removable. Got a large area under here. It's about 3 inches deep. It's not super deep, but it gives you a lot of room for like towels, jackets, different things like that. So there's a compartment on both sides like that. And then in the back part, we'll slide this mattress forward here. And this gives you access. It's kind of like your utility room or mechanical room inside your trailer here. So all of our systems are easily accessible. This gets you into the water tank, the water pump, and then the RedArc controller. And we'll show you a few things down here. Let's see. So on the driver's side of the trailer, you'll have your RedArc controller, and there's basically no fuses. There's a couple breakers in there. So the back breaker there, it's a 40 amp breaker, and that is your charge controller breaker back there. So if all of a sudden you, for some reason, are not getting any charge, that would be a good place to start looking to make sure that breaker is not flipped. And then the little 30 amp breaker up here in the front, that one is all of your, basically if that breaker would be off, there would be no power to the camper at all. That's your main switch. So, you know, if you wanted to, maybe when you're winterizing your trailer, want to totally disconnect your power, you can also flip that breaker, and then that'd basically be like your master switch, or you could flip both the breakers and there would be no, that would totally isolate your battery. So on the other side of the under the mattress area, we've got your water system basically. And we're gonna show you guys simply on this side how you would winterize your trailer. So first thing you would do is open up this red valve and the yellow valve, and that'll drain all of the water basically above this area, like from your Truma Combi and all of your plumbing up top down through the bottom of the trailer there. So basically open them two, and then to drain the tank, there is a valve down there in the bottom right beside the tank, and you can drain your tank there. That's a low point drain. And then basically the other two things you would do when you're winterizing your trailer is you'll want to open up your sink, open up the faucet, and then also hook up your shower hose and open up the shower, both the hot and the cold on there. That way all the water can drain out of them, the shower and the faucet as well. And that pretty much is all you have to do to winterize your trailer. You don't have to worry about putting antifreeze in it or anything. Just basically open up them three valves, and then the faucet and the shower. And then it can be a good idea, like if you have the leveling jacks on your trailer, you could lift up the driver's side basically to get the little bit of water what would be in the water tank. You can get that out as well. So that's pretty much how to winterize the trailer. Next thing we'll show you is your shore power plug. So it's just a simple shore power plug here on the driver's side. You can just plug in a standard extension cord to that. It's just a 15 amp standard shore power plug. Then we'll move into here. This is your pantry drawer. Typically this is the way all of the trailers are set up. Pantry drawer on the driver's side. From the factory here, we generally have your shower hose inside the pantry drawer along with your solar extension cord. Now we'll show you how to hook up the shower. Now we'll show you guys basically how to use your shower. Before you use the shower, you'll have to turn on your Truma Combi if you want hot water, and your water pump, basically to give you water pressure. And then simply all you do is take this hose and plug it into the shower port, and then turn it. This is your mixture as well, so hot or cold, and then you turn it all the way and pull that thing off of there, and basically you got your outdoor shower. That's pretty much all there's to that. Next thing we'll show you guys is the solar panel here in the back. The Vega 2.0 comes standard with this, so it's pretty much on every single trailer. You turn these cam latches, simply turn them, and then unplug your SAE plug here, and simply remove your solar panel. Then there's a little kickstand back behind your solar panel here, and you can set it off. If your trailer's in the shade, you can set your panel off in the sun. And then there's a 12-foot extension cord in here where you can just plug in between the solar panel and your plug there. And if you want to add, extra solar panels, you can simply just put a splitter there on your plug and add up to 500 watts of solar. While we're in the back here, we're going to show you guys how you fill your water tank. So simply pull down your license plate and then open up your gravity fed tank. Screw this open, and you can, anything that you could pour a jerry can in there if you have to, or just simply put a water hose in there and fill up your water tank. You can just fill it until it starts running over out of here. This is also a little vent right beside here, so there'll be water coming out of both once it gets full. Moving into the galley here, we will simply just push the buttons in the middle of the latches, and you can lift up on the latches, as they ain't gonna hurt it. So back here in the galley, it's pretty simple. Basically, you got the little trigger latches like you do on the inside. Large adjustable shelving. So if you want to adjust the shelving in here, basically simply remove the pins and then adjust your shelf up and down. Got USB and a 12-volt plug. And then we got our RedArc display. And we'll walk you guys through that a little bit here. And then on the other side, we got our 110-volt plug, which only is on while you have your inverter on. Yeah, so we're gonna walk you through basically how we set up the RedArc display generally. So basically up top here, you got your battery percentage. Right now, it's depleting the battery, or there's no charge coming in. So it shows the arrow going down, and at the current draw rate, it's going to take 7 days to basically deplete your battery. Down below that, we got our water level gauge. So now you can see we have about 3/4 of a tank. And the way we program this generally is with the switches here on the side. So this one here, what shows the little 110, is how you turn your inverter on. So simply, you'll press that, it'll show it's green, and then you have power to your AC outlets, both inside the cabin and in the galley. Next we have our heating pad underneath our water tank. So we can turn that on, and basically you won't ever turn that on unless you're in freezing temperatures. If you're in freezing temperatures for a while, or if you're going to be in freezing temperatures, you can just simply turn that on, and that will keep your tank from freezing up. On the other side, we have our lights. So the one what looks like the little light in a box shining down is our overhead lighting in the galley. And what's cool about this RedArc controller, if you press and hold these, it'll dim the lights down. Next we have our under trailer lighting, and it's the same as the galley lighting. Basically it's just a light shining down, and press that, push that, and that turns the under trailer lighting on, and them are also dimmable if you just press and hold the switch button there. The next one, we have our little water spigot, and that's basically the way you turn your water pump on. So you'll press that, and that'll turn your water pump on. And you're going to want to turn this on before you ever turn your Truma Combi on, or if you're going to take a shower or use your sink, you'll have to have the water pump on. It's also a good idea to turn it on when you're winterizing, just to get all the water out of the lines. One more thing with the RedArc controller here, or a couple more things. So this power button, if you press and hold it, or press it twice, it's going to lock everything. Basically, that's your master switch. So if you're ever in the screens, or if you ever get to a point where it looks like everything's locked and everything's turned off in your whole trailer, just simply come back here and press it twice again, and that will then turn on your buttons that you can turn them off and on. Another thing is, we're going to scroll sideways here, and this basically gives your, it shows your charge coming in, and also exactly how much power your trailer is using. So basically this 1230 here represents your charge controller. So if you're getting any charge, it's going to show a number here between 1 and 35 amps, somewhere in there. And basically that's how much charge is coming into your unit. The little battery represents what's coming out of the battery or going into the battery. So you can kind of see the little arrow down there at the bottom. It shows now that the power is coming out of the battery and going into the light bulb. The light bulb basically represents your camper. So basically there's 2.6 amps coming out of the battery going into your camper, whether it be to your refrigerator, to your lights. That number will always fluctuate. And then one thing what's really cool about this screen here is down here it shows basically your solar input. So now it's on 0 watts because we're inside the shop here. But where that comes handy is if you remove your solar panel and you're trying to get the most out of your solar panel, you can watch that wattage there, and whatever you can get the highest number on, you're getting the most input basically. So like if you think you're pretty much in the sun, you can kind of just adjust it to be more direct with the sun, and then this number will, and go by this number basically to to be able to make sure you're getting the most. One more thing we're going to show you guys, we're going to go back here to the home screen, but if we scroll, let's see here, sideways, and it shows the little battery here. We press that, and depending on your battery you have, most of the time we only put lithium batteries on, so it'll always be the LiPo 4, but you'll have to adjust your battery amp hours basically. And the only time you'll ever have to do this, and this screen will just come up automatically, is if your trailer goes 100% dead. Then it'll, when you power it back on, or you plug it in to shore power or whatever charging system you're using, it'll come up and it'll say confirm battery settings. And basically, you need to set your battery settings on here. It's always LiPo 4, so you can scroll through the different ones. It'll be calcium, gel, AGM, lead acid. Just make sure it's on LiPo 4 for lithium. And then just whatever your battery is, if it's 105 amp hour, which is our standard battery, or the 210 or the 320, just make sure that is set according to your trailer. And then basically just simply hit the green check mark, go out of there. So on the passenger side, we pretty much always put the stove sink combo. So simply open the small door here on the side, and then yellow tab, pull it up, and your stove sink combo slides out, clicks into place. And then you do the two blue tabs up and pull your stove out. Then we'll show you how to set up the stove here. Simply turn this latch open up your stove, fold out your windscreens, put them in the little wire connectors here. And now hold your stove. And I'll show you guys the sink here a little bit. Faucet's pretty straightforward, just folds up, sink collapses down, and then if you have your water pump on, you should have water here to your sink. Then underneath that we have our cutlery drawer, and generally from the factory we put your propane hose inside that cutlery drawer. So we'll pull that out and we'll show you guys how to hook this propane up to this. Yep, so basically we take the hose and we connect it to the quick connect fitting right behind the rear fender on the trailer. So I'll show you guys how to do that. Simply just remove the dust cover and then slide your little ring back and simply connect your quick connect. There's also a little valve up here. Obviously you'll have to have your propane turned on up front, and then you'll turn this little valve on top of the propane line there, and that supplies propane to your hose. Then your propane line simply just screws into the side of the stove. Screw that propane line into the stove. And then basically turn your stove on, turn your stove burners on, and light it with a lighter. Then there is a little more functionality with the sink here, so you can remove the sink. And then we have our cutting board, which is up on top of the cabinets here. And this will simply set down on top of the sink area. That way you have a little more prep space. Another thing, what is a good idea, before you just go take a shower or turn on your water pump, it is a good idea to slide out your stove sink combo, just in case you for some reason would have left the faucet on before you slid it all back in there. Your faucet might be just running on the inside and you can flood out the battery compartment on your trailer. So it's a good rule of thumb just to always slide your stove sink combo out before you turn your water pump on. You don't need any. Then another thing is when you're actually turning your propane off, or when you're disconnecting your propane, you're going to have to turn this valve off before you can slide the little collar back. It will not allow that to come disconnected if you do not have that small valve off down there. Pretty typical setup is most people have the refrigerator up here, so we're going to show you guys around this. It's not a standard option, but simply yellow tab and slide it out. This is the Truma C60. Then there's also a 12-volt plug on the inside here where you can plug your refrigerator in. So on the Vega XT, it always comes standard with rear leveling jacks. And quite often people do get their own box. This isn't a standard option, but we always, from the factory, always put the leveling jacks up front here. So we'll pull them out and we'll show you how to mount them. So simply, these leveling jacks, they just simply go on, slide on these mounts here, and you put the pin in. Then you can jack up your trailer. It is a good idea before you put your slide outs out to put your jacks on and jack it up and level it however you want to, because once you got your slide outs out, it is basically underneath your slide out. So, and you can lift the entire trailer off the ground with these jacks if you need to change a tire, or if you're on some super uneven ground, you can lift this side up 15 inches and really get your trailer leveled out. And then simply to remove them, and if you want to, you can store them back here too. The way you'd do that is you could simply pull this out and put the pin back in the upright position, and they can ride back there. But most of the time we recommend taking them off. It looks a little bit funny back here, and also it can get hung up on the trail if you were going down some trails with, well, you needed some good departure angle. So pull these things off now. So simply just pull the pin out, remove it, and then store it wherever you choose to. I'm going to show you guys now how to hook this up. So basically, once you get the pin lined up with your DO35, lower that down onto the DO35. And once that's in there, simply all you'll do is you'll push this little red button, and that will click the latch into place. And this dust cover then clips on the top. And if it does not click on, that means it's not hooked up right. So that's a nice little safety point there. Another thing is, this also does have the parking brake, which you can use in place of like wheel chocks and stuff. But before you take off, just make sure that your parking brake is off. Otherwise, obviously you probably notice it pretty fast, but if you pulled it for a little while, it'd totally ruin your brakes on your trailer. So it's a good idea just to always double check that your parking brake is off. Next thing we'll do here is hook up the safety chains. There's varying opinions. Some people think you need to cross them. For this demonstration, we'll cross them. Hook them up. Simply into your vehicle. And then all of our trailers come standard with a 7-pin connector. So then hook that in simply here. Just plug it into your 7-pin. And then put the little dust cover onto your cord. Yeah, so we're going to show you guys now how to store your jack. So crank this thing up, and if you line up that little pin on there with the hole, you can in any position. Generally we run it in that position. And then that way it holds that wheel stable. And simply then, to remove your jack and turn it up, you just pull the pin and slide the jack back towards you and pivot it up, slide it back on. And now you can see the reason for that. To put this pin in, it holds your wheels upright, that way they aren't hanging way down. Another thing is with this jack, just always make sure this handle is removable. So just make sure you always remove it. The last thing you want to do is to get to your campsite and not have your jack handle. So it's always just a good thing to have a place where you always store that jack handle then. Oftentimes people just will put it in their own box. So now we'll show you guys how to disconnect this trailer. So to disconnect the trailer, simply attach your jack handle, pull the pin, and let's flip the jack down. Reinstall the pin. And then before you start jacking it up, you'll want to disconnect the Cruise Master hitch. So simply pull up on the desk cover and push with your finger here and push the red button down, and then that releases it. And simply lift the trailer off of the vehicle. That's pretty awkward looking. Then disconnect your safety chains and your 7-pin connector. That's awkward. A lot of people wonder what they need for the DO35 articulating hitch. So the DO35 comes with the pin. And so basically all you'll need is a simple drawbar, which you can get at Lowe's or any of your auto parts stores. It's just a simple $20, $30 part. And the DO35 pin will just simply get mounted to that, just like a ball would for a standard ball coupler. And one thing with choosing a drawbar for your tow vehicle is basically when it's mounted inside your vehicle, the top height of this drawbar should be right at about 19 inches. So just whichever raise or drop you need, or rise or drop you need, just get that rise or drop to get that at about 19 inches. Thank you for watching this demonstration video on the Vega XT. If you have any other questions, our emails and website along with all our socials will be linked in the description below.